You're welcome back. It's still TV3 New Day, and it's time now to talk about adolescent reproductive health. I'll put out some statistics as to how many young people. This is a report that was done in 2004, but it still remains very relevant because even at that time, the statistics were very revealing. So you can just imagine what's happening currently. But even before that, you'd realize that there was a report that was put out just a few weeks ago, about a month ago, about the number of teenage pregnancies that had been recorded between 2020 and the early parts of 2021. And it said that it was more than even Ghana's COVID-19 cases in 2020 and 2021 combined. So as at that time when this report came out, it said that the total number of teenage pregnancies recorded in Ghana in the year 2020 alone has been confirmed to be about 100,000 cases. And there was a further breakdown of, how many teenage pregnancies had been recorded per region. But even before that, it said that 2,865 girls between age 10 and 14 got pregnant in 2020, whilst 107,023 between 15 and 19 were also pregnant within the same period. And as of that time, a month ago, our COVID-19 cases stood at around 92,562. And so that was very worrying. Now, if you go to the regions and you take a look, I wish I could have projected for you. I'm sorry about that. But the Ashanti region alone recorded 17,802 teenage pregnancies. It was followed by the Eastern region with 10,865 cases, Central with 10,301. And then the Northern region with 9,249, Greater Accra 9,018, Western 8,553. 8,533, pardon me. Upper East, 6,533. Volta, 6,144. I wish I could go through, but of course, they end with Bono East with 5,741. The region with the least, but even that is still very worrying, is Ahafo, with 2,625 cases of teenage pregnancy. Now, there was a study that was conducted sometime in 2004 by Research in Brief by Protecting the Next Generation. And at that time, it said that by age 20, 83% of women and 56% of men have had sex. The median age at first intercourse is 17.4 for women and 19.5 for men. And among those who had sex, 4 in 10 women and 6 in 10 men aged 12 to 24 have had more than one sexual partner. With the use of contraceptives, it says that among 15 to 19-year-olds, 76% of women and 88% of men are aware of at least one modern family planning method. Although about 2/3 of 15 to 19-year-olds, that's female and male, approve of family planning, most sexually active teenagers do not use contraceptives. Among sexually active adolescents in this age group, 80% of females and 63% of males currently do not use any modern method. Now, you'd realize that in addressing some of these issues and also the prevalence of HIV, back in 1986, the government of Ghana decided to be proactive in its way of, sending messages to the young people across the country. And then around 1999, thereabout, we saw the establishment of the Ghana AIDS Commission, and it was supposed to be centered heavily on youth education. So you'd realize that at a time when we were very young, there were lots of TV commercials on HIV, AIDS, its prevention. If it's not on, it's not in. A lot of very interesting ways of educating young people. Over time, we've seen that is fading gradually, and we're recording high cases of teenage pregnancy and, young people not really paying attention to their sexual reproductive health. What could be the real problem here? And to help us have this conversation this morning, from Marie Stopes, I'd like to say good morning. Hold on, let me just pull that information. Madame Patricia Entry-Boisiako. She's the Deputy Director of Operations at Marie Stopes Ghana. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
All right. I also have Solace Esi Amankwa, who is a PRO of the National Population Council. Good morning. And we're looking at, another round of census happening very soon. So we're yet to get the details on that, with regards to our population at the moment. But regardless, even young people constitute about 23% of our population as it stands now. So that means that there's a lot of education that needs to go into our sexual reproductive health. But our statistics don't favor us. 100,000 teenage pregnancy cases in 2020 alone. That's very worrying.
Sure.
Solis, I'll start with you. What do you make of this?
Yes, it's worrying, and that calls for this conversation this morning. And I think we have to start making the right choices. You rightly said that there were policies in early 90s which kind of educates the young girls on the way to go. But now we don't see all those adverts in the media. I remember in the past we used to have a very big calendar with a 9-year girl pregnant and a woman also giving birth to a lot, and the more nutrition. You see the picture posted on the regional coordinating councils. When you close from school and you are passing by, you look at it and you don't want to be like that.
Exactly.
And now all those educations have gone down the drain, and we are just stuck here, and the damage is glaring right in the face of all of us.
Yeah.
And what we are not saying is that these adolescents, the young age, the numbers you are mentioning here, these people, this group of people stand between the young and the old, and the older generation. And these people make the choices of today. And every decision that they make affect us tomorrow. If we are calling them to be our future leaders, then of course our future is very bleak if we don't take care of them, because the decisions they make today affects them, affects the community, and affects the nation. That is why time now is the action, because we can't wait anymore. Teenage pregnancy is on ascendancy, and we have to look at policy directives.
Indeed, we do. And let me bring Madame Patricia in, because Marie Stopes has been very vocal with regards to reproductive health in the country. We're having our own conversation off air about how girls found out about Marie Stopes. Well, at least a few of the ones that I have spoken to. It's usually when they find themselves in, you know, a situation. That's when someone suggests Marie Stopes. So they go there and get educated on it. But even prior to that, for a lot of them, they don't get sexual reproductive education from their parents. They don't get it from family members. What's the problem? What's that barrier? How was it created?
Okay, thank you very much, Bella. That's rightly true. When you look at the statistics, it's very worrying. And the fact that somebody will mention Marie Stopes and just say SRH, we do so many other things. But what is happening currently is that we really have a very young population, like we said. And once we have a very young population, the issues from the young population will be more. And when we talk about adolescents, we are looking at age 10 to 19. As it stands now, we have young boys and girls having sex at an early age. During the, I think from the Ghana Demographic Health Survey 2014 stated that about 11% of women between the ages of 25 to 49 had had sex at age 15. It further increased to 44% at age 18. So what is the issue now? The reality is that our boys and girls are having sex. As a nation, what are we doing to ensure that they are educated so they have safe and protected sex? And I would say it's more about the culture. I mean, the African culture frowns about early sex before marriage. But the reality is that we have aged as a country. There's so much modernization. Social media is giving these young boys, I won't leave the boys out, because it is the boys who get the girls pregnant. So young boys and girls have access to social media. Is it the right information they are having? I know civil society organizations are working on the implementation of ARH and pushing the ARH agenda to increase domestic financing for ARH. But what are the
If you can break it down for our viewers, so when you say ARH,
okay, adolescent reproductive health, so sorry. So the reality is that education is key. We need to educate our women and girls. We need to have a healthy community. We need to make sure that we have well-resourced persons. If these young girls, we are talking about 107,000. I think the population of a stadium is about 40,000. So that's like 3 stadia full. Can you imagine Accra Sports Stadium 2020? 3. I mean, the stadium is full to capacity twice. full of pregnant women who are going to lose their aspirations, their dreams. They are going, some of them will be on the streets, some of them will be vagabonds, and some of them will be doing so many social vices that doesn't work well for us. So what we are saying during this time that we are having this Adolescent Reproductive Health Summit is that you want to advocate for reproductive health education in schools. It is key, it is important, because our young ones have access to wrong information. If policymakers will ensure that our young ones have access to the right reproductive health information, we will have a healthy nation that will also contribute to the economic growth of Ghana.
What should we be focusing on? Preventing them from having sex? You're talking about modernization and all that, but I'm sure there are some parents who say, I don't want to teach them how to have healthy sex. I don't want my children to have sex at all.
Sexual education is not just about going to have sex. You were speaking about those adverts we were having in 2004. I remember we had these ABCs about sex, abstinence, be careful if you're having sex, wear contraception or have contraception. So it's not all about telling them to have sex. Abstinence is part of the education. And it is at times, we have a lot of, some schools who have adolescent reproductive health clubs. You know, when you get to an age where you have these hormones rising within you, there's that urge to have sex. If we have these setups in our schools, there's a policy guiding that in our schools to educate them on all those feelings and let them know that, look, if you have those feelings, read a book, go out with a friend or have fun or join a group on campus so that it will take your mind off all those feelings. So it's not all about telling them to go and have safe sex. It's also about abstinence. But if you cannot abstain, the best thing is what? Go in for contraception.
Solace, how do we rope the parents in? Because they may spend some hours in school with their friends, with their teachers who educate them. But if they go home and they're not getting that same support and education from their parents, then really we'll leave it half-baked. We won't really get the results that we're looking for. But unfortunately, parents, for some reason, are not comfortable talking about sex with their children.
Yes, you've said it right. I think it's about our culture. And there's breakdown in our culture because our parents feel shy talking about sex to us.
Why?
But then, now we are in a modern age and the things are confronting us. The kind of things that children watch on social media, on television and all those things. Those times you and I didn't have access to it because it's a black and white TV that weekends then they'll pull it out for the whole household, everybody to watch. But now it's in the homes of everybody and it's even colored. The telenovelas and things. But you know, the modern day woman and a man, the father and the mother, they get up, go out to work and bring bread and butter home. The child is left alone in the house, probably with a house help, who is also a teenager, interested in watching these kind of things. And then they come back from school after homework, they proceed to watch telenovelas. They watch all sorts of acts on TV, not TV alone. Mind you, after when COVID sets in and schools were on break, tablets were bought for children.
Yes.
How do we censor the kind of things that are accessible to these children on the net? My 6-year-old comes home, a grade 1 child is asked to do a research on a topic. I'm busy cooking in the kitchen because I'm back from work. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then I leave the tablet in the hands of that girl to do research on the topic she's been asked to work on. And mind you, I'm not there with her. All I want her to do is to do her homework and come and show it to me that it's done. For all you know, she's had access to other content. And she'll watch it and then will not say anything. The modern child knows more than the parents. So it's time parents get involved in sex education. The child comes home and asks you, my 10-year-old boy will say, Mommy, what is sperm? I said, what? The thing just hits me. And I said, where did you hear this from? He said, I was taught at school. What did your teacher tell you? Then he begins to tell me things that I didn't even want him to know.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, he's aware. He said, well, all that your teacher has said is true. But then you have to get to this age before you know some of these things. This is the best way to go. But if I say, hey, shut up, because that is how our parents silence us when we want to talk about sex, when we want to talk about feelings. Our parents forbid us from saying it. But mind you, I said earlier that there is a break in our cultural values. In the olden days, not even much older days, in early 90s, outdoorings were held very early in the morning. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, those who participated in the naming ceremony, mostly elderly people, they are done and gone back to their normal lives. But today, what do we witness? The modern day outdooring, it's from morning till mama calls. And all sorts of music have played, and you see these young girls and boys dancing to all tunes of music. And it becomes a fun that, well, if this girl at the age of 19 has given birth and is having this flashy outdooring, then of course having baby is a fun. Let me also try. I may be giving this flashy sort of naming ceremony.
But they say a child is a blessing, and so even if your child made a mistake and got pregnant along the line,
the child can only be a blessing when you plan for it. Look, when COVID set in, we didn't know how to wear nose masks. And so we were asked to wear nose masks. That was the best way, one of the ways of preventing COVID.
Yeah.
And you and I are here wearing nose masks. Children were at home. We were wondering why they have to stay at home. They still have to learn. After some time, government realized that no, they have to go to school. When government made the announcement that children should go back to school, there were all sorts of noise in the media. How are children going to cope with nose masks? That grade 1 children should go to school, nursery should go to school. How are they going to manage? But you and I are here now. The children are in class. They are in nose mask. They are sanitizing their hands. So if these policy directives will help us prevent COVID, then of course we should look at policy directives that will help us reduce teenage pregnancy to the barest minimum. But if we wait, one of the SDG goals is to increase access to reproductive health services by 2063, Agenda 2063. We will be sitting here again, if God willing, we are all alive by that 2063, and the figures that will hit us in teenage pregnancy will skyrocket, and there'll be little you and I could do about it.
Madam Patricia, so our policies, should I say biting, are they actually giving us the results that we require currently?
I'll link it to statistics again, because I don't think they are giving us the necessary attention that is needed. So when you look at the teenage pregnancy rate of 14.2% for Ghana, generally when you link it to teenage pregnancy rate, sub-Saharan Africa is 10.5. Developed countries, 1.5. What does it tell us? 14.5, 10.5, 1.5. So it definitely tells us that the developed countries and probably even the sub-Saharan countries have much more better policies to address adolescent and reproductive health issues in their countries. So basically what we are saying is that we are advocating for policy change. During the Abuja Declaration, Ghana committed to support with financing adolescent reproductive health. I think we used to have a budget allocation of about 6%, and there was the commitment to improve upon it. But as it sits now, we don't have the figures, but we are all aware, as we are here, that not much support has been given by the government to finance ARH. And that is one of the reasons why we are actually having this biennial summit, to ensure that we engage our policymakers, to ensure that we get the right stakeholders to advocate and advance for government funding, increase in government funding for adolescent and reproductive health.
So that's happening today?
Yes, it is happening today at the Alisa Hotel, Northridge. It's a 2-day program, and the theme is advancing the sustainable development goals, or the road to sustainable development goals, advancing ARH in the next decade, or prioritizing it.
I see. So there are lots of things that will be discussed today, but I just want to ask you this question before we wrap up, because I know you have to rush to the event as well. So again, these girls come into your DM and say, I'm pregnant. And I say, have you told your parents? No, I'm afraid. My mom will kill me if I tell her. These girls are 23, sometimes 20. I mean, 16, yes, sometimes. But I'm saying 23 because at least they're a bit older. than the 60-year-old. And even a 23-year-old is saying, if I tell my mom, she'll kill me. What should she do? Where does she go? And what should the parents do if their child comes to tell them that, Mama, I'm pregnant?
Yes, it's not easy. It's heartbreaking when you raise a child up to a certain age, very promising young girl, and one day you wake up to the realization that she's pregnant. It's heartbreaking, and it's difficult for parents to take, especially the mothers, because it's going to be a burden. You are not ready to be a grandmother. That girl herself, it's a baby. So this is a baby giving birth to a baby. Now, if the girl child has seeked the right information, which is not available, right information, it wouldn't have led her to getting pregnant. Right information, seeking right information, it's one of the problems that the young girls are facing, because when they get to that puberty age and the development begins to appear physically, they try to seek information about what is happening to them. Oh, if you are my mate, Bella, I've seen blood flowing through my private part, and they said it's menses. What is it? If you don't know, you are going to misinform me. You tell me this shows that you're a big girl now, so you can have sex. So, wow, is that so? I've had the feeling for it. She'll go for it. We don't know the consequences. So seeking right information, and also our health center should be what? Friendly. Friendly.
Tell us about it.
You know, I went to one of these big health facility in Ghana. I won't mention the name. And a girl came, they brought a girl on a stretcher, bleeding. And one of the nurses at the triage just came and said, so you sign to wait it. You're
trying to abort
you are trying to abort a baby. Without even, and then the girl was screaming. I say, they be a sow. So I asked the lady, won't you attend to the girl suffering? After that, you try to educate her not to do what she's doing, because you don't know what might have driven her. In the north, for instance, people use sanitary pad to lure girls into sex.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Sanitary pads. How much is sanitary pad? It's a lot of problems that we are facing. Bella, if our government officials could come on board and say, okay, the MP will come and promise you dams. They'll promise you hospitals. They are looking at the tangibles, things that are physical that we can see. But if an MP could go to a community and in his or her campaign message and says, well, this region, we have the highest rate of teenage pregnancy. And so one of my policies in my manifesto is that I will build this health center that will be purposely for information and knowledge seeking, so that adolescents could go there every weekend to have training on reproductive health. And by 4 years' time, we'll reduce teenage pregnancy in our community. How many of us will buy into that idea?
It will do us a lot of good.
Yes. We want the politician to buy us motorbikes, to give us 50 Ghana, to give us T-shirts, so that we could queue and vote for him or her. By the end of the day, it's about bread and butter. It is not about the well-being of the community. It's not about the well-being of the future leaders that we are looking up to. So I think we have a lot to do as a nation, health-wise, education-wise, and financing. And a lot of funds should be dedicated to adolescent reproductive health. We should prioritize it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are heading into a ditch.
Indeed, and time is up. We'll have to go. I wish Madam Patricia could have said something, but we'll leave that for the summit, which is happening later this morning. Again, at Alisa Hotel. It's already started by now, right? Because it starts at 9.
Today and tomorrow.
Yes.
Today and tomorrow. Is it open to the public?
You're warmly welcome.
No, it's in person. The invitation is limited because of the COVID. So we have in person, and then the virtual is open, and it will be streamed live on our social media handle.
Awesome. Which is
ARH
2021. So please join, especially parents. You know, let's learn how we can educate our children a lot more on adolescents' reproductive health. It's important. And as we talk about this as well, on Friday, the 28th of this month, also, it will be the menstrual hygiene day. And so we'll have to have a conversation about that as well, because like she's saying, people are luring girls with sanitary pads in the north to sleep with them. And that's because in the north it's been established that sanitary pads are not that common. And so a lot of the girls even are embarrassed in schools because they, because they are in their menses. Some of them have to miss classes because of this. It's a whole lot of issues that needs to be discussed. And that's why you should join, the summit today, please, and learn from it. And to all young people as well, if you need information, you know where to go. Of course, the media is here, but Marie Stopes is here. We also have all the agencies that will handle your situation for you. So Solace Esia Mankwa is the PRO for the National Population Council, and Madam Patricia Intribo Esiako is the Deputy Director of Operations, Marie Stopes. And so thank you so much for your time.